Hey guys, I'm live. How you guys doing? I'm on my front porch. So I got just some rant. I got a couple things I want to talk about. I almost hate when I have a change of heart about music or anything really, but then again, that's how you learn, right? Um, I was watching Best of Both Worlds live in uh, New Haven, Connecticut from the uh, Live Without a Net Van Halen live DVD. And it caused me to have a slight change of heart about not thinking that the original Van Halen isn't always going to be the best Van Halen, but about thinking that Van Hagar automatically sucks because it doesn't have David Lee Roth. I changed my mind about that if I thought that, because it still has Eddie, and Sammy Hagar didn't suck. He just wasn't David Lee Roth. And Van Hagar, as they call it, as we call it, is actually, at least at the beginning, not half bad. I mean, Best of Both Worlds, rockin' song. Summer Nights, rockin' song, and both of those are original Van Hagar tunes. They're not old Van Halen tunes. They're not cover tunes. They're not Sammy Hagar tunes. They're literally tunes that were written with Van Hagar, and they rock. Sammy had attitude. He wasn't David Lee Roth. Yeah, I get it, but he had attitude, rock and roll attitude. He had spirit and he had heart. And I love that his favorite color was red because so is mine. He called the Red Rocker. Red, red, I love red. Some like it hot, I like it red. That's so cool, Montrose, red, song and Rock Candy, Fast Times at Richmond High. I want the best of both worlds. I mean, that is really cool. If that's not cool, then rock sucks. Okay, that's really cool. Sammy's cool, and plus. I think Sammy lightened Eddie up a little bit, gave Eddie a good time before he started, his drugs and problems. But I think that Eddie was quoted in the 80s as saying, he said, yeah, Van, I had, with David Roth, we had some good times. We had some good moments. But with Sammy, it's a good moment every moment. And he smiled. He said that in 1986 about playing with Van Hagar. He was actually happy in that band, and Sammy Hagar at least didn't have David's problems either. He wasn't like probably bad for Eddie like David was in some ways. I don't know. And plus, do you realize that not 1984 that oh, you went to no. 5150 was the first number one selling album Van Halen ever had. If they had others, I don't know, but that was their first number one. So you got to give it some credit. It beat Eat 'Em and Smile that year. Not musically, but it beat it on the charts, and that's not nothing. And it still had Eddie. That's how great Eddie is. Eddie could have had me on vocals. He still would have been great. I'm kind of throwing that out there. I mean, Eddie could do. If it had Eddie, it was going to be great. So I think, myself included, people bash Van Hagar too much. It does have Eddie. There went my phone. Sorry, guys. I video on a chair, and it doesn't sit right unless I prop up the phone with the book, and the book just fell. Yeah, I mean, it still had Eddie Van Halen. Okay, it's like a band with Eddie Van Halen. An average band with Eddie Van Halen in it is one of the best bands of all time. That's how great Eddie was. I don't care. So I changed my tune a little bit there. I still like David Lee Roth better, and I like the early Van Halen better, but that doesn't mean we should all throw the baby out with the bathwater and say that Van Hagar sucks, because it didn't. It had Eddie Van Halen on guitar still, so I dig it. And Sammy was cool. Sammy's cool. Sammy has good rock and roll attitude. He's intelligent too. Some of these rockers are more intelligent than people give him credit for. Back in the 80s, they had a video, which we actually have, called the fall of Western Civilization Part 2, The Metal Years. And it's talking about how metal ruining the earth. And all these people that have long hair are considered idiots. But Dee Snider's in court, okay, from Twisted Sister, vocalist. And he's got this long hair, and he's in court, and he's defending rock and roll and all that. And he's just mopping up these lawyers like with one hand. He's like mopping them all over the floor because he is intelligent. He knew what to say. He knew the law. He knew this and that. And he was like mopping the floor up with these lawyers. Oh, but he had long hair, rocker. Well, so fucking what? He was intelligent. He is intelligent. He rocked D. You know. Interestingly, D. Snyder's. The D is spelled the same as the song D by Randy Rhoads. Isn't that funny? D-E, short for Dolores. It was Randy Rhoads' mom, you know. So yeah, I'm learning. I'm not a final product. Now I want to get Live Without a Net on DVD. I don't have it on DVD. I have it on VHS, but nobody has that anymore. Nobody plays them, so I got to find that on DVD so I can actually watch it. Watch it myself. I dig it, man. It's still rock and roll. It's like, isn't there a line from the '60s? Don't let the past remind you of what. No, don't let the past remind us of what we are not now. Don't let best be the enemy of good. Okay. In a way, I'm just putting my story to it, and this doesn't mean I think I'm any of these guys, because I'm not. This just came to me to say. In a way, Van Hagar versus Van Halen is like my history as a whatever I am. In the '90s, I had this long ass hair, and I hadn't even shaved. I didn't even shave. I did not even shave until I was like 33. I just didn't need to. I had baby face up until like age 33. That's when I finally had to start shaving and make my face clean, hair down to here. But I wasn't as good of a player of guitar at the time, and I was semi-homeless, hanging out in Santa Monica. That's kind of the Daily Roth era of Van Halen in my story. Now, and I was kind of miserable. I was miserable in the '90s. Long hair, no. Now I've got slightly shorter hair. I have to shave because I do not have baby face forever. But I'm a better player. I'm happier. I'm wiser. That's like Van Hagar era in my life. Like I'm Van Hagar now. I was Van Halen in the '90s. Not saying I am those guys. I'm just making an analogy that sometimes mature and wiser can be better and can still rock, So love you, Sammy Hagar. And Sammy did his band, the Wabos. He did live in Cabo Wabo. He did live with the Wabos in 2006 or something. I don't know. Cool band, and cool. He doesn't even need Eddie to rock. Sammy Hagar, because Sammy and the Wabos, this rocking, man. And I was discounting that just because he's not David Lee Roth. That's me not thinking right. So, my bad. Who can be David Roth? But that doesn't mean that sucks. And I'm sorry that I went along that line too much. So Eddie played keyboard a lot later on, but what's wrong with that? Keyboard's still an instrument. Bach played keyboard. Mozart played keyboard. Chick Corea plays keyboard. My favorite keyboard player, actually, Chick Corea from Return to Forever. Yngwie Malmsteen has a keyboardist in his band. I don't. So what? You play keyboard? That's being multi-instrumental. That's being talented. I can't write jump intro on keyboard, but Eddie did. I dabble on keyboard, but not like Eddie. I couldn't have written a jump intro on a keyboard. Maybe if I use, I couldn't. I can't and then play it. I can't do that. Eddie, you rock. Peace. R.I.P. But that doesn't make him bad or less than. It makes him multi-instrumental. There's nothing wrong with that. And now one more thing to address. Dal unblocked me. I know this because the phone rings when I call. It doesn't just go right to voicemail. I don't even know she did block me. I just know that it went to voicemail, which I assumed was blocking, but now it doesn't. So maybe I know she's not blocking me now, or the phone wouldn't ring. It was just I got peeved because my Uncle Don had just died, and I was doing a song in tribute to him. I was doing Where All the Good Times Gone, and Dal calls right in the middle of the song. But yeah, she didn't answer when I called her first, and she was short with her, and so she blocked me. Someone wants to know why she blocked me, and no, it has. Okay, that's enough there, and of course I don't mean to be short. Sorry, and I'm not even blocked now. So, anything else? I'm finally thawing out from the winter. It's a long, hard process, but I'm getting there. Even the first few days of spring, I wasn't there. I was still thawing. You know, ice takes a while to turn back into water. I was thawing out, and it just took a while. But I'm better. I think I'm better now. I'm more. And you know what? I'm looking forward to this open mic on Tuesday at 7:30 at the Shamrock. But I don't even have a ride. I really hope I get one. Let me tell you guys what I'm going to do if I don't. If I can't find a ride, and just putting this out there, I'm going to literally walk. I'm literally going to walk to the Shamrock early. I'll get there 6:30, close to 6:30, maybe pushing 7, and I'll ask somebody for a ride home just to get my stuff and come right back to the Shamrock, and then play. I'm safe. Just need a ride to get my stuff, and if I don't get a ride anywhere else, I'm going to try that. If any fans want to help me get my equipment to the gig and help me play, that's my plan. I'll just ask somebody. I live like 3 miles away. Oh, it's 5. I don't know. I'm not sure the exact number of miles, but it's not that far. It's just right down the street practically. If any fan wants to support me and has a car, I would really appreciate it. If you just I'll have my stuff right in the studio, ready to go. Just grab it and go. No time here. Just grab it and I'm on my way. It's a cool lizard. It's a lizard love. But my phone's filming and I can't take a picture of it when I'm filming. He's a lizard boy. I like all creatures. That's why I post pictures of creatures. I don't even hurt. I respect even animals, insects, anything that lives. I give it respect. And I try to show that by posting pictures of grasshoppers and lizards and rabbits and stuff. In fact, sometimes I connect with them as much or more than humans at sometimes. Dogs go by me, dogs, D-O-G. And they want to come home with me, I can tell. But the owners pull them away. Of course they have to. It's not my dog. But I connect with animals. That's cool, Anyway, anything else? I'm here. Gonna go on my walk today. I don't want to miss anything. Hope you like my shred, my discombobulations, I called it. I really, you know what? I really like classical music. I said this already in a video, so I'm kind of repeating myself, but I dig classical style heavy metal music. I just know if I would have started doing that first, I would have never gotten to the blues and to the swing and the jazz of things. I never would have. I swear, I just would have been this classical dude, and I didn't want to do that. I made myself do the hard thing first. The thing I might not do, I do first. The thing that's hardest, I do first. That's why, one reason, when somebody was yanking my chain and saying that they were a Riverside sheriff or something, I really walked down to the sheriff. I walked down to the department and just said, hi, here I am. What do you want to talk about? Of course, that was somebody was yanking my chain. There's nothing to that, but I didn't know that. And given what I knew, that's why I did that. I'm just up front first. I walk toward danger if there's danger because I know I'm okay. And I'm sorry that I'm sorry I was played again. So whoever yanked my chain really got me good. And you guys are great. Rock on. Looking forward to having my chain yanked next time. What are you gonna do next? Start go back to the drawing board. Think it up. I'm sorry about that end of it. I'm sorry that I'm so stupid. I fall for all this shit they throw at me, but I'm not sorry for how I responded, given that I thought it was true. That's what I would do if it were true. I just go right down there. Just take care of this. That's what I do. That was just a con. Somebody was just yanking my chain. I should have known that. It was a blocked number. They had no authority. And it sounded really weird. It sounded like he was like it sounded low tech. It sounded like he was kind of a moron, kind of. He wasn't the brightest. He wasn't the fullest can of the 6-pack, so to speak. I should have figured that out. I just didn't. So anything else? I'm gonna start I want to have and I do have friends that are coming to the party if I make it, and you know who you are. I hope to see you. One of them's gonna film me on my phone, and she's got a dude or friend that's gonna film me with a real camera, and I'm really looking forward to that. I just have to get a ride there. So like I said, if I don't get a ride, I'll walk there early. Someone if you can, just take me back. And I'll tell you what, if I make any money from the gig, if somebody slaps me some money and you're the person that took me to get my guitar, I'll give you gas money. I don't know how to. I don't carry cash normally, so I don't know what I'll give you if that doesn't happen. But if someone slips me a few bucks, you get part of it for taking me home for gas money, which I thank you in advance for doing it, whoever does this. So, anything else? Anything else I'm not thinking of while I'm here? And you know what? Please don't mistake when I rant about systems. Here comes another restricted call. Oh yeah. You know, I rant about systems, and I rant about, you know, things in society I don't like. But I hope you don't take that as an individual. You know, I love you guys as individuals. I love my fans. You guys are my best friends. I'm just talking about structures within society that I disagree with, like religion and sometimes school. And people buy into that, and they become part of that mechanism. But individually, I love you all, and I love my fans. You guys are like my best friends, except for a couple people. But basically, you guys are basically my best friends. You know, right up there with my best friends. I love you guys, my fans. So just living rock and roll. When you find this, call that, like that there.